This is the downside of a conscious mind.
So I wrote this. Remember this. We all only have two lives. This is super cool. We all have only two lives. But the second one begins the moment that we realize that we only have one. How cool is that? Ring the bell on that one. Your second life happens the moment you realize you only have one. Gratitude rock. So, in the miniature universe called the human brain, follow this. In the miniature universe, I'm just marveled by the human brain. The miniature universe called the human brain, all 100 billion neurons, 100 billion neurons. And that's just what our human brains have figured out. All act by themselves and communicate with one another as if the brain is an astonishing sense-making vehicle that has no driver. Think about that. Your brain is doing all of this miraculous stuff, like the thought thunderstorm, with or without you. So you're not driving your brain. And you have to be careful that your brain's not driving you. And remember, your brain has been programmed by others, by outsiders. This awakening, this awareness that we don't control our brain is a big breakthrough, as it grants us permission to no longer buy into the thoughts that are being created in our brain. I keep on talking about that. So, interesting experience this morning where I woke up. I just want to share real time. I just very much like you. I woke up this morning when I went from unconscious to conscious, when my eyes first opened, and I'm ready to practice my gratitude and everything like this. But I woke up and I experienced what people refer to as a pang of anxiety. Have you ever had a pang of anxiety? So I had one like that, pang of anxiety. And that's just a shitty feeling, right? So a pang of anxiety upon waking, and it was correlated to me thinking in my head, and it had to do with this piece of technology that I found while we're moving, thinking that I had lost it. That I thought I had misplaced it, and it gave me that anxiety. Now, so what I started to do, because what I've learned to do, and this is what I'm trying to share with everybody, I started to run my interface response system. And the first thing I did is when I felt that feeling and I recognized it, I just kind of went, right? I observed it. I separated myself from it. I distanced myself. That's called cognitive distancing. So upon running that system, I was able to identify in that space that I actually didn't lose it. It wasn't a fact. I thought I did. So there's that thought again. I just thought I did. So it reminded me of how easy it was to take note and buy into a flash of lightning in that thunderstorm of thought that actually had nothing to do with my reality, but I felt how it could have. It was like an offer of like, hey, you want to start your day off like this? Do you want to have an anxiety-driven day? So I ran the system and everything was cool. And you can do that too. So I smiled in amazement. I smiled and I'm like, holy crap, look at that. Look at that. I just caught one. I smiled in amazement and began my day as the dominant force and creator of my reality, of my foolish illusion. So I could have bought into that. So, question. here's the powerful question I was kind of referring to before. Question. That break that you have been hoping for and maybe even praying for, right? Think about that. Everybody's saying, man, I just need a break. I just need a win. So that break that you've been hoping for and that, thing that you've been praying for, if it came today, are you ready? This is such a fascinating thing. We keep on hoping and praying for things. And in the form of a break, right? We ask God for help and the universe for help, right? And I wish this would happen. If this would happen, right? Are you ready for it? And are you ready to accept it and execute the work associated with it? Or these are just my thoughts. Or are you kind of just comfortable? Sometimes I think we're comfortable with just hoping and praying for something rather than ready for it. So just a fascinating thought. I want to challenge everybody before I read my journal entry, which is kind of short today. That thing that you claim that you want, that is so important to you, if it showed up today, Because by the way, it has shown up today. It's called opportunity and potential. You just got to work your tushy off for it. But if it showed up today and presented itself, would you be ready to accept it and execute all the hard work associated with it? Or would you say today's not a good day? Reason why that's important is because it just reminds you that things don't come into your existence, into your reality, just because you're hoping and praying for them. They come into your existence and reality because you work your butt off to get them. And that is how it's presented to you today. So I think a lot of people just think that they're in action because they're hoping and praying. So the downside of a conscious mind. So we work very, very hard. You and I, everybody, we read all these books, and this is a very hot topic. We work so hard to become more conscious, as I do. I often, though, question this. This is an interesting question to look at something that we just assume is a good idea, right? To become more conscious. I often question its value. So not in a pessimistic sense, but just a curious sense attached to the concept that we don't really know what consciousness is. I mean, if you really deep dive into consciousness, you might have your own impression, but if you read the literature from the smartest people in the world, they don't really know what it is. There's just theories and hypotheses, right? So it's not a pessimistic thing when I judge its value. I'm just looking at the fact that we don't really know what it is and where it stems from. Have we ever considered the idea? And this is a fun way to live life, is just consider both sides of everything. Have you ever considered the idea that improving your consciousness and awareness and spending more time tapped into it could actually be disadvantageous and detrimental? Here's why. It's an interesting way to think. I mean, it's something that most people wouldn't think about. Our biggest battle as humans lies with the perception and judgment that we place on our thoughts and feelings. This is what I keep talking about. Now, why is that such a struggle? It's because of our programming. We're programmed to evaluate our thoughts, feelings, and emotions and interpret them as us, as who we are in our reality. So this is one of our biggest challenges, is our perception of those things. And we're talking about this. This is our conversation. So the act of recognizing our thoughts and feelings, just a very simple act of recognizing them, requires some degree of consciousness, doesn't it? So if you're getting good at becoming conscious, but your consciousness is focused on your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, well, you could be screwed, right? So that's what we call self-awareness. So what I'm saying is maybe your problem is that you're self-aware, and in that self-awareness, you're recognizing all these crazy thoughts that you have that aren't true. So can we be aware of something with no consciousness? I don't think so. I think the very nature of being conscious is being aware. So I sometimes wonder if I'm better off sleepwalking or sleeping through some of life's experiences and these thoughts. And I think that's why we do that. I think sometimes we just become numb to life experiences and we just ignore them. I know that when I come across a person, place, or thing that is not in support or detrimental or a negative force, I have a sense of shutting down, almost like an animal playing dead when I do that. So it's like I shut down my consciousness. Isn't that interesting? So on the bright side, here's the bright side. If we've made a decision, you and I, to only allow certain thoughts in and require others to stay out, so you can recognize these thoughts, but if you've gone to the next level, like consciousness 2.0, and you've said, like the bouncer at the doorway of the club, you come in, you don't, you're not on the guest list, or consciously recognize thoughts and feelings as just that, thoughts and feelings, and not detriments of our reality or determinants of our reality. That's good. But if you're not taking that second step, becoming more conscious might be just you realizing how screwed up things are. Some people will probably argue with me that I don't watch the news. And the reason why, great morning, Deborah. Thanks for joining us. A lot of people will get angry with people like me that don't watch the news because they'll claim that I'm unconscious to reality. But that only comes from them. See, they don't know that they're doing this. That's them saying that's reality and you're unconscious to it. Who's to say that's reality? That's an outside force of human beings that are programmed by somebody else, trying to evoke and train people to think a certain way. I mean, that's crazy, man. So, but maybe I'm crazy, right? We're all crazy. So if that's the case, though, and we're consciously recognizing thoughts and feelings as just thoughts and feelings, then becoming conscious is a bonus. So my distinction today is this. Here we go with my distinction. So my distinction today is that conscious decision of how we wish to live our lives and what we want to create is a crucial step. You have to know what you want your reality to be. So that's why when you're setting a goal, you have to know what it means to you and what it looks like, lead from the future, and then act in the now. You got to take that step, okay? Without a destination and a desired state, becoming conscious of your thoughts and feelings is a reactive thing. And if you don't know where you're going, you're going to assess your thoughts, feelings, and emotions for guidance. And then you're in trouble. So becoming conscious of our thoughts, feelings may become confusing and misleading as a result of not knowing. So what's the solution? Make a decision today of what it is. Identify that you have this thought thunderstorm, but just recognize that you get to decide what you've bought into and what you haven't, right? And then from that space, just like ordering from just some sort of crazy menu, make a decision today what it is that you want. The more foolish and crazy, the better. Okay. And then once you have a destination, then you can start sorting what it is that you allow in and what it is that you allow out. If you're letting thoughts come in, like if I let that thought this morning of that pang of anxiety, if I let that dictate me, it would be because I didn't have a goal and a destination today, like to have a good day. Because once I recognized what my goal and destination was today, I said, that doesn't apply. I don't have room for that shit, right? Make sense? Well, I sure hope so. Love and appreciate you all. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Gotta say, I was, just some really cool things going on. I was asked to, from a good friend that's coming out with a big book. I was asked to, do a forward on it, not a forward, a testimonial, and I'll be on the cover of the book. And I said, that's pretty cool. My book is on its way. So many fun things. And I'm writing the new book about the plant medicine. And we're moving to South Africa for 3-4 months. We're just in life. We're just on a journey. A lot of shit hitting the fan at the same time, but that's part of it. And we're embracing the suck and just enjoying this life experience, not taking things too serious, people too seriously, ourselves too seriously. Because last night, when that happened with the choking incident, it just brings things back to perspective about what actually matters. So love and appreciate you. Have an amazing day. And yes, I will be back tomorrow.